Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dinda Isviranti. I'm from second group. I would like to present you about descriptive research. Primary data came from a researcher for the purpose of addressing specific problem. This primary data is first-hand data or from direct source. Data secondary is data that comes from the hands of the two or not from source beginning an information. There is advantage of secondary data and disadvantage. Criteria for evaluating secondary data. Methodology for using data. The methodology used to collect data must be critically examined to check for possible source of bias. Error accuracy of data. Secondary data can have a number of sources of error or inaccuracy, include in the approach, research, design. Accuracy when data is collected. Secondary data may not be the most recent data and the time lag between data collection and publication may be long. Objective purpose of data collection. The purpose of data collection will ultimately determine whether the information is relevant and useful. Properties data content. The nature and content of the data must be checked with special attention to the definition of key variables. Units of measurement, categories used, and relationship examined. Reliable and overall indication of data dependency can be obtained by examining the source, expertise, credibility, reputation, and trust. Classification of secondary data. Internal data are those generated with the organization for which the research is being conducted. Internal secondary data should be starting point in the search for secondary data. The internal data can be obtained from database marketing, where it involves the use of computers to capture and track customer profiles and purchase detail. External data are those generated by source outside the organization. The data may exist in the form of published materials, computerized database, and syndicated survey. Published external secondary source of published external secondary data include federal, state, local government, non-profit organization, trade association, and professional organization, commercial publisher, investment brokerage firms, and professional marketing research firm. In fact, so much data is available that the researcher can be overwhelmed with. Therefore, it is important to classify published source. Published in external search may be broadly classified as general business data, government data. General business sources are composed of guides, directories, indexes, and statistical data. Government sources may be broadly categorized as census data and other publications. Computerized database may be classified as online, offline, and internet as shown in figure. Online database consists of a central data bank which is accessed with a computer via telecommunication network. Internet database can be accessed, searched, and analyzed on the internet. It is also possible to download data from the internet and store it in the computer or an auxiliary storage device. Offline database make the information available on diskette and CD-ROM disk. There is numeric database, the full text database, database directory, bibliography database, and database purpose special. Data from household. Survey is interview with a large number of respondents using a pre-designed questionnaire. Purchase and media panels. Purchase panel respondents record their purchase of a variety of different products. Media panel is a data gathering technique that is comprised of sample of respondents whose television viewing behavior is automatically recorded by electronic device. Scanner service. Use kind of device like scanner data, volume tracking data, scanner panels, and scanner panel with cable TV. Audit is a formal examination and verification of product movement traditionally carried out by auditors who make in-person visit to retail and wholesale outlets and examine physical record or analyze inventory. Industry service provides syndicated data about industrial companies, business, and other institutions. Data collected come from inquiries directly from surface clippings that monitor newspaper, trade press, or broadcast, and from company report.
My name is Bagas Darmawan, and I will continue the presentation from Adinda Viranti. First, combining information data from different sources, single source data. Combining secondary information obtained from single different source. Combining data to compensate for the weakness of one method with strength of another. There are two ways: computer mapping and buying power index. Second, international marketing research. A variety of secondary data is available for international marketing research. Secondary international data is available from both domestic and non-government sources. 3. Ethnic and marketing research. Only data in considered approach should be used. It is also important that data be collected using morally appropriate procedure. Data can be judged unethically if they are collected in a way that enrich respondent or disturb their privacy. 4. SPSS window. PSS map seamlessly integrate with the SPSS basic menu, can choose from 6 basic thematic maps or create another maps by combining maps option. Descriptive research design, survey, and observation. On a survey, there are several methods. Telephone survey. Telephone survey are further divided in the international way or with the help of computer, or better known as robot message. 2. Personal interview. There are 3 to the respondent house by an email or a computer assistant. 3. Email source. Divide into ordinary mail panels and mails. 4. Electronic survey can be done with the internet or web survey maker or email that is usually sent on a web newsletter. Not too different from before, the form provided from survey is defined into 4 parts: interviewing by phone, personal survey, email survey, and electronic survey. From this table, we can see difference and advantage and disadvantage of various survey methods. For example, 1. From the flexibility and diversity of the question, using the computer assist on the telephone survey is very low, but when with home interview is very high. Second, from the cost, in the home cost is very high, but email survey the cost is low. Here are other survey methods such as chat, voice-based interview, text-based interview, and in-office interview. Observation methods. Observation is a recording of behavioral pattern of the people, object, and even in a semantic methods to obtain information about phenomena or interest. First, there is a structure versus unstructured observation. Structure of observation techniques where the research clearly define the behavior of the observed and by methods by which they will measure. Second, disjust versus undisjust observation. Disjust of respondents are unaware that they are being observed. Disjust enable respond behavior morality. Undisjust observation, the response were aware or they are under observation. 3. Natural versus contrived observation. Natural observation involve observing behavior that take place in the environment, and the contrived observation is observing with fake environment that look like a real environment. Observational by mode of administration. First, personal observation, an observational research strategy in which human observe record the phenomenon being observed that is occur. Observational research strategy uses human observe record phenomena that are observed when it's happening. Mechanical observation. An observational research strategy which is mechanical device rather than human observe record the phenomenon being observed. Audit. The research collect data by examining physical research or performing inventory analysis. Content analysis. The objective, systematic, and quantitative description of the manifest content of the communication. And trace analysis, an approach which data collection is based on physical trace or evidence or past behavior. Ethnographic research, the study of human behavior in natural context and involve observing behavior and setting along with deep interview. Sometimes audio and visual recording are also obtained. And international marketing research. First, there is a letter interview. Second, telephone interview. Third, electronic mail interview. and fourth is personal interview.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amarelia Sinta. My number is number 5 and I will explain what is surveys and observation. Surveys has many advantages. There are like the most flexible, can focus on certain segment, can ask variety of question, properly analyze, and then disadvantages are maybe limited, rely primarily on respondent, not 100% what people say it's true, sample many biased. Observation has many advantages like permit measurement of actual behavior. The method of observation is faster than the survey. There is no reporting bias. And then observation has disadvantage too, like time consuming. This method is expensive and difficult to use. And then organizing data. Data is the amount of information that can provide a picture of a situation. Data information is obtained from observation made by a group individuals. And then variable. Variables in researches are attributes of a group of objects under study with variations of each object. For example, height and weight are attributes of a person who is the object of a research. Variable types as follow: independent variable, dependent variable, moderator variables, intervening variables, and control variables. And then data source. Primary data is data obtained from the first search from individuals such as interviews or the result of questionnaires that are normally done by research. And then secondary data is the data that have been already collected by and readily available from other sources. And then data type, qualitative data and quantitative. Qualitative data is data that is only classified. For example, qualitative data is the type of a work person like driver, businessman, teacher, etc. And then quantitative data is data in the form of numbers, internal data and external. Internal data is data that comes from within companies or organizations that conduct research. External data is data about circumstances outside the organization. And then time series data and cross-section data. Time series data or time series data is data that is collected chronologically over time. And then cross-section data is data collected at certain times and places. And then measurement scale, and there is nominal scale. Nominal scale comes from the word name. Nominal scale is the simplest measurement. And then ordinal scales display objects that can be classified in certain categories. And then interval scale, the interval scale has the characteristic that is the number of group object has nominal and ordinal scales and also the same distance in the order of objects. And then ratio scale, the ratio scale has all the properties found in the interval scale and provides information about the absolute value of the object being measured. And then data presenting. Frequency distribution table. Frequency distribution table is the arrangement of data in a table that has been classified according to certain classes or categories. Like in these presentations, we have qualitative frequency distribution and then quantitative frequency distribution. And then we have a chart too in this presentation, like histogram, polygon, ogive, circle graphic, stem leaf, and then linear diagram. And then centering size. A data set usually has a tendency to focus on certain values called central values. This value is in the form of a single value that is sufficiently representative for all values contained in the relevant data. Call it the value because it is generally located in the middle or center of a distribution.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Farhan, number 32, and I will explain the arithmetic mean average. Arithmetic mean average. The calculated average of dataset is the number of data values divided by the number of observation. The average population count is denoted by mu, while the average count for sample is denoted by x bar. This is for formula for population mean, and this is formula for samples mean, and this is the average search for the group data. Next is median. Is the median of observational values arranged regularly according of the amount of data. Median is a measure of central value that can be used for group and non-group data. For data that are not grouped, the median is value that is in position m plus 1 divided by 2, where n indicates the total number of observation. For data that has been grouped, the median first determined, namely class n plus 1 divided by 2. After that, the median value is determined by the following approach. This is the formulas, and next is mode. Mode is the value that has greatest frequency in a dataset. Mode is useful for knowing how often an event occurs. Mode can be obtained with the following approach. Mode can be obtained with the following this formula. Okay, next is average measure or geometric mean. The formula for measuring average is this. And how to simplify the calculation, use logarithm. Logarithm is this. And next is range or range. Range is difference between the maximum value and the minimum value is data group. Okay, next is average absolute mean or mean absolute deviation. For data that are not grouped, the average absolute deviation or MED is calculated from this formula. And for classified data, the calculated mean deviation is obtained from this. You can see this formula. Next is variance and deviation standards. This is the formula, and this is formula for population, and this is formula for sample. Next is variation coefficient. It is the size of the relative variation aimed at comparing variation of multiple data clusters that have different units. Variation or KV coefficient is free of the original data unit and does not depend on the measuring unit used. And this is formula for population, and this is formula for sample.
My name is Risma Hasna, number 37, and right now I'm going to present the next slide till the end of the slide. So as we can see, there's quartile in here. Quartile is also part of size variation. The value that divide the data have been sorted in for equal part. That in a single cluster, the data is 1/3 quartile, quartile 1, quartile 2 or median, and the last thing is quartile 3. As we can see, there's a formula in here. and we can find and we can change the number of a class interval or Q key in here to find the quartile that we want. And the next thing is percentile. Percentile basically has the same formula and has the same meaning with quartile, but the difference is just when in quartile we divided the data with a 4, in this we divided with 100. So after that, there's application, particle size, concentration, and size variation. So this is used to know the distributed of our data. There's the many way to find the distribution from, and there's two type of the data distribution from. The first type is symmetrical distribution, when the amount of the data is smaller than the median value or average value, the same or almost the same as the amount of the data above the mean value or on average value. If the data don't have that criteria, it means the data is asymmetric distribution. There's two type of asymmetric distribution. The first one is asymmetric to the right, where is encountered condition of mode less than median less than mean. This is there is one or some data that is too extremely too large. And the second one is asymmetrical to the left. One or more data is extreme too small with the condition mean less than median less than mode. As we can see, there's a diagram of asymmetrical distribution, and there is asymmetrical distribution. And we also can use Pearson coefficient to find the distribution of the data. With this formula, we can find it. If the answer of this Pearson coefficient is equals 0, it means the data distributes symmetric. If the Pearson coefficient is more than 0, it means the data distributed to the right. If the answer less than 0, it means the data distributed to the left. And we also can use Chebyshев evidence. According to the Chebyshef evidence, for offset distribution of data, apply at least 1 minus 1 per k. The data portion lies in the host mean less or more k, as for k more than 1. Thus, the variation in k value will determine the following condition like this. This is table that will help us to find the distributed of our data. And there's empirical rule. In Chebyshef evidence, test the boundary of observation value for any distributed data. For data that is normal distribution, apply the following empirical rules like this. For 68% observation lies within the limit mean less or more s, and 95% observation lies within the limit mean less or more to s, and for 99.7% observation lies within the limit mean less or more 3s. And there's the last thing is default score. The default score is a relative size that states the deviations of data from the average value measured based on the standard deviation value. The formula for the default score is like this, as we can see. And since the value of standard deviation is not possible negative, then when the default score or z is negative, value means x value below the average value, and if z positively means x value above the average value. I think that's all for so it's just many way to find how to distribute data. We can use distribution form, Chebyshef evidence, empirical rules, or default score.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is practice question in chapter 3. We have question like this, and we can use a lot of formula from their Gibson book. This is number 1. You can use permutation formula. Number 2, you can use combination formula to find the answer. Number 3, you can use multiplication method. Number 4, you can use combination formula. And number 5, you can use nature of opportunity formula to find the answer. Number 6, you can use classic formulation to find the answer.
And for the question, we have a question like this, and this is the formula for answer the question. And next we have a question like this, and you can use formula like this for get the answer. And next we have another question, and we can get the answer with formula like this. And then we have for question 4 like this, and we can use a formula like this for get the answer. And next, the 5 question, you can get the answer with use the formula like this. And last question is this, and you can get the answer with formula like this.
We can see this problem like this, and then you can use this formula to know what is the answer like this, and then we got that answer. And then move to another problem. This is the problem, as you can see, and then this is the formula that I use, and then you can see this is the answer, and we got that answer. And move to another problem. This is the problem, as you can see, and then we use this formula to know the answer, and then you got it, and this is the answer. And move to another problem. This is the problem that we can have, and then we use this formula to know that answer, and we got that answer. This is the answer too, and this is a formula too, and then we got that answer too, like this too. And then move to another problem. This is the problem. As you can see, this is the formula that we use, and then we got that answer, and this is the answer. We move to another problem. This is the problem that we can have, as you can see, and then this is the formula, and then we got this answer, and then this is the answer too, and then yep, this is the answer.
Number 19. We use binomial opportunity distribution formula. This is the formula. And N is the number of repetition, P is chance of success, Q is chance of fail or 1 minus P, and X is random variable. A. Opportunities for less than 3 products sold. When we use the formula, we get this answer, 0.81. B. At least one chance of a single product sold. We use the same formula, 1 minus 0.20, and the answer is 0.80. And C. No product sold. We use the same formula again, and the answer is 0.20. Number 20. We use the same formula like number 19, and the answer is 0.47. Number 21. We use Poisson opportunity distribution formula, which is average of arrival times, X is random of variable, E is natural number or 2.718. And A. We use that formula, and because the mentioned two fish are opportunities, then 2x 0.14, the answer is 0.28. B. So, the chance of not getting fish in one day is 1 minus 0.17, and the answer is 0.82. Number 22. We use the same formula like number 21, and we got the answer is 0.1. Number 23. A. At least 20 people willing to volunteer. This is the formula, and the answer is 0.107. And B. Less than 10 people willing to volunteer. We use the same formula, and the answer is 0.055.
My name is Risma Hasna, and now I'm going to explain for number 24 till number 28 in the capture 3. For the number 24, as we can see, there's a question like this, and we also can see we can use distribution equation to find the answer. We just use the formula of distribution equation, we just implemented the data and the question in here, and we can see the answer is 0.012. And for the B, we use the same formulas and we use distribution equation. We just change the number according to the required questions, and we can see the answer is 0.0497. And for number 25, there's a question like this, and we can see we can use the normal distribution here. We just use the formula of the normal distribution, and we just implemented the number, and the answer is for the A is 89%. For the B, we use the same formulas, we just change the number according to the questions, and the answer is 45%. For the C, because it searches for the Hague, and we just reverse the formula here, and we can see the result is 184.4 centimeters. And for the D, for the basic formula is still the same, use a normal distribution, and we can see the answer is for 96% of adults. We can see the answer is 90% of adults. For number 26, we can see the problem like this, and we can use this formula here. We just implemented the number, and the answer is 1.4821 or 1.5. And for the B, we use the same formula like the above, and we can see the answer is 0. And for the C, we also use the same formula, and the answer is 0.0096. And for number 27, we can see the problem like this. As we know, we can use the binom approach and the Poisson approach to see if both of the way have the same result. For the binomic approach, we can see we can use this way, we can use this formula and just implemented the number, and we can see the answer is 0.44. And for the Poisson approach, we will use this Poisson formula, and we can see the answer is 0.45. So both of this approach have a similar result. And for number 28, there's a problem like this, and we can use the normal approach to this problem, and we just use the normal approach and we implemented the number in here, and we can see the answer is 0.2296. Yeah, I think that's all for the question practice capture 3.
Now we will explain how to test the validity and reliability of the SPSS program. The data we used, there were 28 respondents with a significance of 5%. The table was 0.37 and 4. Immediately, we do a validity test. To the variable view, then type item 1 to score. Then, to the data view, copy and paste data. Then, click Analyze, and then click Correlate and Bivariate. Move item 1 to score to the right or variable. Then, click OK. See the result of the validity test and compare with the error table. If the error count is greater, the results are valid. But if the error table is greater than the error count, the results are invalid. The result we have are valid. For reliability testing, to the data view, click Analyze, then click Scale, then Reliability Analysis. Move item 1 until item 10 to the right or items. Then, click Statistic. Select Scale. If item deleted, then click Continue and OK. See the result and compare with the data. If alpha is greater than the error table, then reliability. But if the error table is greater than alpha, then it is not reliability. Our data has reliability result.
So this time I'm going to explain how to do bivariate analysis in SPSS. Bivariate analysis is performed against two variables that are electrically related or correlated. So this analysis will analyze the correlation between every variables. Okay, just see the implementation here. I have this data where I have three variables in it: motivation, interest, and achievement. And I will check the correlation between every variables. Just copy this data in here. I copy this data to SPSS in a data view. And you can see there's a number of respondents. I have 12 data in here and 3 variables. In the variable view, I'll change the name of the variables. And because my data doesn't have decimal in it, so I just make it 0. And for the label, I'll add some explanation. And after that, I'm going to change it to scale, and we go back to data view, and we choose analyze, and we choose correlate and bivariate in here, and we move all the variable that we have to the other box, and we choose Pearson's because I use Pearson this time. And to health and flexibility correlation, we click OK, and the output will be like this, and we just analyze this output. Before we analyze it, make sure that you already know the basic of this analyze, the correlation can take on any value in the range -1 and 1. The sign of the correlation coefficient indicates the direction of the relationship, while the magnitude of the correlation, how close it is to -1 or +1. So if the output is -1, it means perfectly negative linear relationship. When the output is 0, it means no relationship, and when the output is +1, it means perfectly positive linear relationship. And the strength can be assessed by this, you can see in here, and we just analyze this. So the way to analyze this data, we have 3 ways in here. If we analyze based on the significant value of the seek to tell, as we can see, a value between motivation, achievement is 0.002 like this, which is less than 0.5, which means there is significant correlation between motivational variables and achievement. And you can see the next is similar with this. And the next is we can analyze with based on the value of error cone. So we can see the significant level is 0.01 in here. It means the level of significant is 5%. And we can see we have 12 data in here, so 12 means the level of significance is 0.57 and 6. And after we already know, we can analyze this data. Now one value of error count for the motivational relationship x1 with achievement is amounting 0.769 more than our table. It can be concluded that there is a link between motivational variables and achievement variables. Furthermore, it is known that the value of error count for interrelationship with achievement y is more than our table. As you can see, it can be concluded that there is a relationship between interest variable with achievement variables. Since the Pearson analysis is positively positive, so the relationship between the two variables is positive. In other words, the increasing motivation and talent of student is increasing student achievements. So we can see the last way we can analyze this data is based on asterisks in here. There can be no one correlation between variable association with significance level of 1. So we can see is a significance level of 1% is 1. It means there's a correlation between this data. I think that's all for bivariate analysis. Thank you for listening. So right now I'm going to explain how to do univariate analysis in SPSS. Before that, we should know what is univariate. Univariate analysis is analysis that analyze each variable that we have. So before that, we can see the implementation here. Before that, make sure that you already have your data stored in Excel or Word or any other application that's similar to both of them. And you can copy your data to SPSS. Just copy your data in data view. In the data view in SPSS, you can copy it here. There's a column and row. Column means your variable, so the column is for your variable and the row is for the number of your data that you have. And we can see there's two tabs, data view and variable view. We click variable view. Variable view let you to change everything about your variable. Is the information about your variables, like your variable names and your decimal, because my data don't have decimals in it, so I just make it 0. And the label is for additional information that you want to add to your data. And for the measure, we change it to scale. And after that, we go back to the data view and we choose analyze and we choose descriptive text and frequencies. There's a dialog box like this, and you just move your data in here to the next box, and you can see there's a few option in here. We can choose statistic, and this will be the output that you want to be. For the example, I want the output of my data to be mean, median, mode, and standard deviation, variance, range, minimum, maximum, and standard error mean. And for the charts, I want to the output of my data is histogram, so I choose this. And then because usually the output of the unified analysis is like this, it gives you like the all of the things about your data, each variables like this, and you can copy it the output to another application. I think that's all for presentation for descriptive research, and thank you for listening.